In the final days of August 2024, weather forecasters kept a close eye on the Gulf of Mexico. Tropical waters were unusually warm, and conditions were perfect for rapid storm development. Within hours, a tropical system strengthened into Hurricane Idalia, and computer models showed a clear and concerning track. It was heading directly toward Florida's Big Bend region, an area that historically doesn't face many direct hits from major hurricanes. By the morning of August 30th, Idalia was a monster storm. With sustained winds near 125 miles per hour, or 200 kilometers per hour, it reached the strength of a solid Category 3 hurricane. Just the night before, while still over open water, it briefly touched Category 4 status, sparking fear that it could strike Florida at maximum intensity. Fortunately, it weakened slightly before landfall, but it was still more than powerful enough to leave a deep mark on the state. As Idalia came ashore, the winds howled across coastal towns. Homes shook, windows rattled, and entire neighborhoods felt the raw force of the storm. In many places, residents who stayed behind described hearing what sounded like a freight train barreling past their homes, the trademark roar of hurricane-force winds. For the Big Bend, an area known for its small coastal towns, marshlands, and fishing communities, this was an event unlike anything seen in decades. The eye of the hurricane pushed inland, carrying walls of water and sheets of rain that poured down without pause. One of the most devastating effects of Hurricane Idalia was the storm surge. In Cedar Key, a small island community, water levels rose between 8 and 12 feet above normal. That's the height of a one-story building. Entire streets vanished under waves of salt water, turning familiar blocks into temporary canals. Boats were ripped from their moorings, docks splintered, and vehicles were swept down flooded streets. For a community built on the water, this was one of the worst-case scenarios. Residents who evacuated later returned to find mud, debris, and broken structures where their businesses and homes once stood. Even outside the immediate impact area, Idalia's effects spread far and wide. In Tampa Bay and Clearwater, storm surge also climbed well above normal levels. Low-lying neighborhoods flooded, coastal roads were submerged, and damage spread into areas not directly hit by the hurricane's core. This showed a critical reality about hurricanes. You don't need to be in the exact path of the eye to suffer severe consequences. The storm's reach stretched hundreds of miles, touching millions of Floridians. The storm's winds were relentless. Massive oak and pine trees were snapped like matchsticks. Power poles tilted or collapsed completely, pulling down live wires across roads. Shingles, siding, and pieces of roofs tore away from homes, leaving many exposed to rain. Roadways across the Big Bend and into Georgia were blocked by fallen debris. Some areas were so covered in trees and power lines that emergency crews had difficulty even reaching the hardest-hit neighborhoods. At the height of the storm, more than 400,000 customers in Florida and Georgia were left without electricity. For some families, the outage lasted only a day. For others, it stretched to nearly a week. Without air conditioning in the late summer heat, and without refrigeration for food or medicine, life became even more challenging for those already coping with storm damage. Utility crews worked around the clock, cutting through fallen trees and restringing power lines, often in dangerous conditions. Their efforts helped restore a sense of normalcy, but the task highlighted how vulnerable critical infrastructure remains during powerful storms. Across the Big Bend, homes, cars, and boats were battered. Streets turned into rivers, and in some neighborhoods, residents watched in disbelief as smaller vehicles floated away with the floodwaters. For many families, returning home meant facing collapsed walls, waterlogged furniture, and weeks of cleanup. Florida's agriculture sector faced another devastating blow. Fields of crops were destroyed by flooding, orchards suffered wind damage, and timber losses were extensive. Early estimates put agricultural damages in the hundreds of millions of dollars. adding long-term consequences to an already difficult recovery. By the time assessments were complete, officials reported that Hurricane Idalia caused more than $3.6 billion in damages. For the Big Bend region, a part of Florida not often struck directly by strong hurricanes, Idalia was one of the most powerful storms in living memory. Beyond the physical damage, there was also an emotional toll. Families lost keepsakes, small businesses were forced to close, and many residents faced the difficult decision of whether to rebuild or relocate. In the days after the storm, something remarkable happened. Despite the destruction, communities came together. Neighbors helped neighbors clear fallen trees. Volunteers distributed food, water, and basic supplies. Local and state emergency teams worked side by side with residents to remove debris, patch roofs, and begin the long road to recovery. Rescue crews brought boats and high-water vehicles to reach stranded families. Shelters provided safe spaces for those who had lost their homes. Churches, charities, and community organizations all stepped in, demonstrating the resilience and solidarity that Floridians are known for. Hurricane Idalia will be remembered as a turning point for Florida's Big Bend. It revealed both the vulnerability of coastal communities and the strength of the people who live there. Experts have warned that rising sea levels and warmer ocean waters may fuel stronger storms in the future, making preparation even more essential. For the residents who lived through Idalia, the memory of August 30th, 2023 is a lasting reminder. It was a day when winds roared, seas rose, and neighborhoods were tested. But it was also a day when communities proved that even in the face of one of nature's most powerful forces, human resilience and unity can shine just as strong.